Good morning, and welcome to Redeemer Lutheran Church. I'm Pastor Gary Lodeholt. There's a well-known story about Abraham Lincoln in the midst of the Civil War. He was observing a battle, and things were going well for the Union Army on that day. One of his lieutenants said to him, "Mr. President, it appears God is on our side." Lincoln is said to have responded, "I am more concerned to make sure I am on God's side." Well, Lincoln's point is well taken, most of the time. But I think at Christmas time, maybe that's the time to think most of all of God on our side. In the midst of singing Christmas carols along with the radio, this week and next week we are looking instead at some Advent hymns that help us prepare for the coming of Christ among us. And that phrase, among us, is so vitally important. Jesus is called Emmanuel, a name that means God with us, and so very, very often, that's what we need. God with us to bind up the broken. God with us to encourage and strengthen. God with us to make the world right. In this season of Advent and Christmas, we focus on God with us, and it is the gift we yearn for and deeply need. That's what our hymn for today speaks of. It does come from our new hymnal supplement, All Creation Sings, and so I'm unfamiliar with the tune yet, but I suspect we are all familiar with the feelings and the thoughts this hymn expresses. Let me read the whole thing. Come now, O God, when our love is forsaken. Come when our bedrock of faith has been shaken. Come when our deepest of hopes are mistaken. Come, Emmanuel. Come, Emmanuel. Come when we squander the freedom you gave us. Come, break the systems of sin that enslave us. Come, though we wonder if you can still save us. Come, Emmanuel. Come, Emmanuel. Come, put an end to our self-serving madness. Come, while the world is enshrouded in sadness. Come, turn the tears of our mourning to gladness. Come, Emmanuel. Come, Emmanuel. The hymn invokes a yearning plea to God to come and be with us in our struggles. Whether it's when we feel forsaken, or our faith is weak, or our hopes have not been met, we need God with us to renew and hold us. Whether we are enslaved to sin or to societal institutions that misshape our way of being, or we are lost in doubt, we need God with us to comfort and guide. Whether we are caught up in, as the hymn describes, self-serving madness, and what a powerful way to describe our world that has strayed so far from God and God's intention for us. And neither is it hard to come up with ways our world is enshrouded with sadness. What we need, what we yearn for, what we long for, is God to turn our tears into gladness. All this is caught up in our prayer. Come. Come, Emmanuel. Come, God with us. Come. We need you. Thanks for watching, and remember to let this day belong to God.